All right, here we are in chapter 3, or section 3 rather, of the I Am Mordred response guide. So here we are at the end of our novel. We're going to continue, or at least start in chapter 11, and then work our way through the epilogue. So at this point, we are towards the end of I Am Mordred, so a lot of our questions that we'll be focusing on will relate to the end of our novel. So at this point, Mordred is fleeing from Tintagel rather than trying to explain himself to Lynette, one of the female characters within our novel. So in this section here, again, as you're reading the novel, you will be able to read the novel and complete these plot questions. So as we continue on down through here, we've seen a lot of change in the way that Mordred handles himself as a person, and we can definitely see the dynamic aspect of his character at this time. Now, a lot of this section will focus on the epilogue because there is a lot of important information that occurs during this time. Now, as we continue on down through here, again, the vocabulary section, you are documenting the page number that you found, any unknown or interesting words to you. You're going to write that word down and then look up a definition. So again, you're finding 5 altogether for a total of 20 points in the vocabulary section. Next, you are choosing meaningful quotes. So as you're reading through chapters 11 through the epilogue, any location that you find something that you thought was really well written or really meaningful to you, you're going to document or write that down at this time. And then as you continue on, then you'll write a brief explanation of about 2 to 3 sentences saying why this quote was relevant to you. All right, as we continue on here, next we're focusing on analyzing literature. Now, a lot of this book focuses on Mordred's fate, or what his destiny is, and there are some other plot events that have occurred in 11 through the epilogue that could have changed Mordred's fate. So one of these events would have been a life spent in love with Lynette. Again, that is the female character that he meets within the story. So you're going to write down the solution and Mordred's reaction to this plot event. Now, there's a location where Mordred also states that he wishes to live a simple life as a woodcutter or a hunter. So this would be the implications of what it would be like for Mordred to live as a woodcutter. Now, Mordred also does a lot of good things for various people and animals within the book. So there's a time where Mordred just does the right thing. He releases a captive hawk, and you're going to write down what the solution to just doing good would be. Finally then, there's the solution aspect of Arthur keeping Mordred's soul, and there's a lot of discussion about whether or not that is what Mordred is fated to do in terms of Merlin's prophecy. So, as we continue along here, the way that this novel is written, it's known as a frame story. So, in this case, the prologue and the epilogue create a frame or a box around the center portion of the story. Now, your job is to describe at least 2 components of the novel that are key points of understanding for the reader. So think about how the reader would not understand the novel as well if the prologue and the epilogue were omitted or left out of the story. So think about important key details that would be left out if the epilogue and the prologue were just non-existent within this story. So a recommendation would be to go back through and just read the prologue. Again, it's about 2 pages, and then read the epilogue, which is about 4 or 5, so that you have a better idea of what 2 components or the 2 examples that you're going to use within your paragraph. So again, remember your paragraph, remember to use textual evidence and explanations as well to formulate your response. Now, the final piece here focuses again on color symbolism. Now, Color symbolism is very important within our novel, and in this final section of color symbolism, you're just going to look in the epilogue. The epilogue contains a lot of color symbolism when Mordred and King Arthur face one another for their final battle. So you'll be able to find at least 5 examples within the epilogue section. If you don't find 5 examples for whatever reason, then I would just keep backtracking and work through the final chapter of the last book titled The Raven. So there you have the directions for section 3 of I Am Mordred.